Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place where we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. I'm joined once again by my co-host in Tocayos Adrian. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, dude? It's always nice to be here back with you. Gonna talk about this last cupcake game, and yeah, I want to hear your opinions. I know you have some strong ones.
Yeah, man, what a great game we were witnessing today. Um, yeah, so this is six things we learned for the USMNT versus Colombia on January 28, 2023, the second game, as Adrian said, of the January camp for 2023. Let's get right into it. Starting off with a neutral here. I mean, there wasn't many positives to take away from this game. I don't think there was many really standout negatives. It was just a neutral game, man. It was a boring game with really no standout performances. I think the first neutral for me was Aronson. Going into the game, I had high hopes for him just because of his recent transfer to Europe, and
Yeah.
his brother's really good, and I don't think he was bad by any means. He missed a couple sitters, like that. There was one in the minute 6 where Hoppy laid it off to him, and he just hit a weak shot directly at the Colombian goalkeeper.
hmm
And a couple instances where he gave the ball away. There's some moments where him, like his brother, they haul ass. They're all over the pitch, always working hard. So I mean, he was everywhere, but he really didn't amount to much. There wasn't much to his game today, and I don't know. It was just a really neutral, really quiet game for him. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I was expecting more from him, just because of all the big fuss that he's been building up, even when he was playing with the Union in Philadelphia, and now that he moved to Eintracht Frankfurt. Um, I think he there was a lot of hype behind him for sure, and I think there's still a lot of hype behind him. This is just one of those games that it's kind of a not situation, and hopefully he does great in Eintracht Frankfurt. I know he had a couple of interesting plays on the offensive side, that I think he made a couple of bad decisions, poor choices. There was one in the first half, maybe like around the 15 minute, where he was I don't can remember the name of the guy, but someone crossed the ball in, um, and
Ariola backheeled
he
it.
yeah, Verlaag
Yeah.
healed it, and he had the freaking goal open, dude. He
Hmm.
should have just blasted that thing, and he
Yeah.
wanted to finesse it.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean,
I
he's
think
how old is he?
I think is he 19?
19, I think. Yeah, right.
Let me see here. Yeah. What's his Paxton Aronson, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Ashton Aronson.
Yeah, he is 19 years old. Yeah. It could have been just nerves. I mean, it could have been he's used to European time. He could be a little jet lag. Could have been
Yeah.
uh he's not playing with the A team, so it's kind of, you see that difference in quality. It could have been a lot of
Mhm.
things, but yeah, he definitely didn't stand out. But again, he didn't really do bad either. Just a really neutral game for him there. Um, the next item I want to kind of focus on here, another neutral, is Anthony Hudson, the interim head coach for the USMNT.
Yeah.
Um, just a very quiet, very reserved 2 matches for him. If he was trying to win the coaching job permanently, I don't think he convinced anybody of that. His subs were meh. His timing of his subs, not left a lot to be desired. Uh,
Yeah.
his selection. I mean, this was always going to be a selection of more local MLS based players rather than European. There were some European players, but it was nice that he gave the chance to Sendejas, to Brandon Vasquez, to a lot of younger guys, right? Neil, the guys that got their debut. A lot of people got their debut in these 2 games, but
Mhm.
so that was a good takeaway from him, I guess. But I don't know how much was his decision to do that versus the federation's. But other than that, I mean, 2 games that we won't be talking about in an hour's time ever again. They were just
No.
really, really muted, reserved games that were just very boring. And I don't know him. He just seems like he could probably be a MLS coach or an MLS assistant coach. But yeah, there's no way he'll continue,
No.
with the reign moving forward.
I don't think anyone's thinking him as a strong candidate for the job, and I don't even think he's. I don't know. Maybe he is, but I really hope that if he was planning on putting his name up for for grabs on the decision of who's going to be the coach, then he did himself a disservice with with these two games. Unfortunately for him, I just to me I just felt that he was going with the motions, man. Like
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure they probably had something different planned for these two games before the whole drama unleashed. And I just feel that he was, putting something together just to make sure that the USMNT has something together. I am not sure if he had the last call on the list of players that were here. As you said, this is probably could have been, an effort from the federation, from US Soccer, but very plain, kind of sort of no strategy whatsoever. They look very weak on the defense. Didn't have any punch. Like they just lacked this cohesiveness that at least we kind of sort of saw during the World Cup. And I know that this is not even the B team for the USMNT, but
right.
show something.
Yeah, and he lined up this match as a 4-3-3, so you would assume him to be attacking a lot. And there was moments where the
Mhm.
U.S. attacked a lot, and but there was also moments where Colombia dominated the midfield, who also kind of lined up 4-3-3. So it was just a very it was a midfield battle, but the midfielders for both teams were really reserved and just quiet. So all in all, meh, Anthony Hudson, thanks, but no thanks. Um,
No one asked for him, and I don't think anyone will.
and no one will miss him. Yeah. Um,
Exactly.
I guess really the only negative, like I said, this game really didn't have a lot of positives, didn't have a lot of negatives either. Just a really neutral match. The real negative for me was Matthew Hoppy, the guy that plays in the
Mhm.
championship in England. Kind of expected
Yeah.
more from him up front. He missed quite a few opportunities, a few clear opportunities. There was that minute in minute that chance in minute 31 where Jesus Ferreira, one of the only decent things Ferreira did here. Was a really nice through ball. He did two really good through balls. Uh, he found Hoppy with that really nice through ball through like three or four Colombian defenders, and Hoppy, instead of finding Arriola on the right, who was running wide open on the
Yeah.
right side, shoots a weak shot straight at the Colombian keeper, and the Colombian keeper hits it out for a goal, corner kick. But other than that, man, I mean, he should have done better. That was a find Arriola score. There was a couple chances that Hoppy could have scored other than that, and if he was trying to get any suitors, because I think he's trying to move out of who was it?
Middlesbrough.
Middlesbrough in the championship, trying to look for another team. I've heard rumors that he's coming back to MLS because he's not cutting it out there. But he was trying to find a suitor out there in Europe. This performance did him, like you said, a disservice for sure.
Yeah.
What you think of Hoppy?
No, yeah, once again, people may think that we always agree, but you're hitting every single spot that I was thinking. I also expected more from him, just because he's one of those European Legion members. Even if he's playing in Championship, it's a decent level of a game, and do you expect this kind of European players to show up and do better,
Right,
take better decisions, be ready for these kind of big moments in the game? And yeah, I think he very poor performance. He's supposed to be an attacking guy. He only had one shot on target, uh, and he dribbled. He had two dribble attempts and he missed one. So that tells you a lot. 39 touches. He had 50% of accuracy on passes.
yeah.
So like one long ball, one cross, and that cross wasn't even on target. Uh, very, very, very. I guess,
Lackluster.
yeah, lackluster. He wasn't shining whatsoever. It was kind of. I don't know if it was sad to see him, but as you were telling me, if he comes back to the MLS, I'm not gonna be surprised
Yeah,
because he can
yeah.
definitely have a better career in the MLS than trying to make a name out there in Europe. At least for
Bouncing
now.
around. Yeah, bouncing around in
Yeah.
Europe. Yeah, I agree. Um, I guess another neutral here, another neutral takeaway from this game was the World Cup guys: Sean Johnson, Jesus Ferreira, Aaron Long, Walker Zimmerman, Kalen Acosta. Just all very boring games,
Yeah,
performances.
man.
You'd expect more from these guys that just played in Qatar. Most of them, I know Zimmerman got time in Qatar, Ferreira got time in Qatar, Acosta got time in Qatar.
Costa.
So these players that played out there and against some of the best players in the world. Not saying they're at that level, some of the best players in the world, but they're
Mhm.
apparently to go to Qatar. Some of the best 23 players in the USA,
Exactly.
so or 26, I think it was. You'd expect more from them. Very muted performance from the two center backs, Zimmerman and Long. Just afraid to really. There was a couple times where they tried to go forward and their ball got intercepted or didn't reach its intended target.
Mhm.
So there was a lot of more times where they just played the ball back to Sean Johnson or out wide. Really not taking many chances. Just a neutral display from them. Ferreira just had those two long balls that kind of were the positives, where he reached Hoppy, and there was another one where he reached Arriola. Um, or sorry, Acosta in minute 58. But other than that, he was. I could see why he got subbed off. He didn't really do much either. Sean Johnson really wasn't tested much. So I mean, meh performance
Yeah.
from him. And yeah, Acosta being he's kind of a guy that in the midfield should be dominating the midfield at this level, but he just again looked like pretty plain out there. So not much to those World Cup guys today.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if the MLS being on preseason has to do something with their performance, but at the same time, I think most of them are still, they're still under preseason, but that doesn't really excuse them from having this very, uh, you know, boring, plain, unflavorful performance whatsoever.
Right.
They're supposed to be the ones that come in and show up and have experience and lead the team into what the coach's strategy is. But again, I don't know if they're also still like shook from what happened with Berhalter. I actually was expecting more from Ferreira because he's supposed to be like this hype guy from MLS, the go-to guy for FC Dallas, and he had, he went to Qatar as you said, like he got chosen over Brandon Vasquez, and based on on these last two games, you can make the argument that Brandon Vasquez should have gone to the World Cup instead of him.
Yeah, for sure. And even Pepe maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I expected more from him for sure.
Hmm.
One of the few positives I think I took away from this, I know after talking to you're kind of on the same boat with me here, was Paul Arriola.
Yeah.
I think he had a good game. There was one time a scare in the first half where he got hit and it looked like he got injured, but he stood back up and he played the rest of the game, or the remainder of the time he was on the field. Um, he was the most dangerous down that right wing for the USA. Most
Yeah.
of the chances that happened for the USA and the opportunities for the US team were from him. That back heel we discussed that he passed it to Aronson, the run in that he had behind that should have been a pass from Hoppy. Um, he had a lot of good crosses that weren't really met by the American team, or they just got intercepted. But he was really the only one that kind of stood out to me as a hustling. He's probably playing with that mentality that I'm gonna show the next coach why it was a mistake that they didn't take me to Qatar. I should have been on
Yeah.
that plane to Qatar. And so he was playing really good, aggressive, and I liked what I saw from him today. But other than that, I mean, not really too many positives to speak of. Did you like what Ariola did today?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he was, the dog on the field. He was, biting pretty much every single thing that he could. He only had one. He had five ground duels and he won all of them. So tells you that he was a very physical, athletic player out there. Um, I I think out of all of the majority of them are MLS players, but I think out of these pool of players that come from MLS, he's the one that showed the best performance out of the entire two games, and I think he's shown also that he's in great shape,
Yeah,
regardless of the preseason. So if the USMNT is going to have a base or a basis or pool of players that come from MLS, which I think it's fine, as bench or backup for the starting players, they should definitely consider Paulo Arreola to be one of them. And I know he's not that young as other on the roster. He is 27. Most more than likely, he's not gonna make a move to Europe anytime soon. But if he keeps up this kind of level and display, I think whoever is the next coach is gonna have a tough choice as to who are going to be, those backup MLS players for the national team.
Yeah, for sure. Good summary there for him. Um, the last thing we learned here, item number 6, I think want to just discuss Camp Cupcake in general, the January camp. I think there was more
Man.
negatives than positive for this camp. Again, that could be due to the fact that the USA is kind of in limbo right now. No general manager, no coach, um, and no director of football. I think so the other position that was let go of. So you know. This camp usually they always have one in January where they call up mainly MLS guys to kind of look at how they're at before the season and kind of try to implement them into the system and the program. This one had a lot more European guys than normally for a January camp cupcake, but
Mhm.
the European guys didn't really shine too much. The MLSers, aside from Brandon Vasquez and maybe Paula Riola, didn't do much either. It was just two really bland games, and it makes you want to question. Is Camp Cupcake necessary? We were talking before the game against Serbia that ML or Liga MX is in the middle of the league, and what if Sendejas had gotten injured? While he's doing well for America, or what if one of the European guys got injured? Aronson, who just moved out there. So it just Camp Cupcake. I think there's more downsides than upsides. Yeah, we got to see some debuts, a lot of debuts from a lot of guys, and some
Mhm.
positive ones like Brandon Vasquez. But at the same time, I think the negatives outweigh the
So,
positive.
what is the purpose of this whole cupcake camp? Like, I'm assuming this happens every single year or every so often.
Yeah, every
To be
January.
honest, this is perhaps the first time that I pay attention to this. But what's the purpose behind it, man? Like, I
Yeah,
don't really get it.
just to see MLSers, see honestly, the main purpose between you and I is probably just money, right? I mean, we get two January matches, get some
I guess
cash, but at the same time, it gives chances to younger guys, and maybe to the MLS guys while they're in preseason, gets them started the preseason. But other than that, man, yeah, I mean, I don't see much point to it, like I said, and normally shit, I probably don't keep up with these matches either. If it were any other year, but PPG has got to stay on it, man. So we're
Yeah,
watching
you
even
gotta stay
the
on
even the
it.
boring matches. But yeah, I mean, just I could take it or leave it. If they were to say tomorrow, no more camp cupcakes in the future,
Yeah,
awesome.
it doesn't really matter. Yeah, because it will be one thing if it's like, all right, we're the purpose of this thing is not only to scout MLS players, but to also set up the pace or set up the standard of, all right, whoever joins this camp will most likely be considered for the USMNT, and we're ensuring that all of these players that we keep within our umbrella align to, I guess, the strategy or the style of play that the coach has for all of the national teams, right? From the first team all the way to under 15s or whatever.
Right.
And then having like very, I guess, highly competitive games. In this case, I'm not gonna pretend here that I know everything about Colombian football or about Serbian football at all, but I think I mean we can definitely see and tell that both of these teams did not come with their A team, because it's a very odd period of the year where I don't think anyone in Europe is willing to release any of their class A players. And then on
Right.
top of that, I wonder if they make the decision on who they're going to play based on how many MLS players they have on hand, because I know that Serbia has a couple of MLS players
Mm,
here, active in the league, and then I also know that Colombia has also a handful of them, like Cristian Arango, who I think he plays for LAFC, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah.
So, I wish that these cupcake camps yield better results for the USMNT and have a clearer path as to what's the purpose of them. I wonder if Mourinho joins as the USMNT coach, is he gonna put up with this kind of stuff?
Right. Or he just get rid of
Exactly.
it, scrap it like from the get go. Yeah, who knows? But yeah, I don't know, man. You brought up a good point regarding the MLS guys. Both Serbia and Colombia had some, so I guess it was a chance to a warm up, preseason for all those
Yeah.
guys. That's the
Mhm.
only real purpose I could see behind it. But there would be it would be helpful if they could define what they're trying to get out of this camp.
Yeah.
And But yeah, I mean, two bland games. The 1-1 loss to Serbia and a 0-0 draw with Colombia. Ultimately, kind of sums up Camp Cupcake and the January transfer window. Um, but yeah, Adrian. So this has been six things we learned. USA versus Colombia. Uh, Going forward, man, where can our fans and subscribers and listeners find us?
And once again, baby, they can find us if they want to see our pretty faces. They can find us on YouTube. They better subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. But if they're okay just listening to us, they can find us on any podcast service, Spotify, Apple Podcast, you name it, whatever you're a subscriber on, you can find us out there. They can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Puro Pinche Gol. So follow us.
Yep, for sure. Follow us on your social media app of choice, and we'll see you guys on the next one. See you, Adrian.
Take it easy, man.
Deuce.